Last week I talked about some, but certainly not all, of the stupidest Magic card designs ever. I didn't even mention cards like Trait Doctoring or Horizon Seed. What is this? Why is this? Like, there's just too many stupid Magic cards to mention them all, okay? Wood Elemental is on the reserve list. What? But it's important to remember that Magic the Gathering is a game that is positively filled with brilliant card designs as well. And while we can laugh at weird old Magic cards, many of Magic's most brilliant designs date all the way back to Alpha, a set that is one of the most significant triumphs of game design in the entire history of games. That's right, Magic the Gathering has had brilliant card designs since day one. Richard Garfield designed Alpha from the top down, managing to convey evocative creatures and spells through flavorful game mechanics that he created essentially from scratch, all while making the game fun, so much fun. Many of the most brilliant designs in Alpha remain among the most brilliant card designs ever made, like in the entire history of Magic the Gathering, and they will never be topped. I'm talking about cards like Lightning Bolt, Birds of Paradise, an OG counterspell. These all created the gold standard upon which now staple card archetypes like Burn, Mana Dorks, and Counter Magic can iterate. What exactly makes a card's design brilliant versus just great? Well, to some extent, it's a subjective evaluation, right? Great card design is more clearly defined, like a successful science experiment, while brilliant card design is closer to an artistic achievement. They make for good gameplay, yes, but they also do more than that. They're evocative, elegant, well-balanced, and exciting. They're innovative, breaking new ground and opening up a whole new cavern of possible designs, or they're iterative, taking an existing design and finding a twist that makes it brand new. Oftentimes, these cards can implicitly teach players about key concepts or guide them deeper into the rich well of Magic gameplay. Brilliant cards also tend to get reprinted a lot, either literally or functionally, as they do something that's easy to slot into a set. Elvish Visionary is an excellent example of a brilliant card. It's a perfect implementation of a creature with an enter the battlefield effect. Clean, simple, exciting. Thraben Inspector, another brilliant card, is an iteration on Elvish Visionary that answers the question, what would need to be adjusted to make Elvish Visionary cost 1 mana? There are far more brilliant cards in Magic than I could ever go into detail about in just one video. From iconic creatures like Monastery Swiftspear and Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, to perfect spells like Duress, Unsummon, and Wrath of God, to brilliant land cycles like the Shocklands. But in this video, I will be highlighting 5 of my absolute favorite examples of brilliant card design. These cards are the creme de la creme of what Magic cards can and should be. These are some of Magic the Gathering's most brilliant card designs. Honestly, well-designed Magic cards just blow my mind. I can play with them, but I'm not so sure that I could actually design them myself. It's kind of like coding. I play computer games, but I'd need a computer game that taught me to code in order to learn how to code, and that's actually what sponsor of today's video, Boot.dev, does. Imagine playing a game where you walk away not having memorized Magic cards and what they do, or Pokemon and what their matchups are and what their moves are, but rather programming languages like Python and Go. Boot.dev turns the valuable skill of coding into something you actually enjoy doing, playing a game. Learn back-end web development from start to finish in both the Python and Go programming languages, all while playing a captivating RPG-style game. As you go through lessons, you'll unlock pages in your spellbook, like collecting Magic cards. The Boot.dev spellbook is an unlockable cheat sheet of links and notes to help you with your future coding and review at any time. You'll be earning XP, going up in levels and achievements as you complete quests and work your way up the global leaderboard. And we all know programmers have amazing earning potential. According to Stack Overflow, the median salary for back-end web developers in the United States was over $100,000 in 2023. Why did I major in English? Oh my goodness. But don't just take my word for it. You can do it for free. That's right. Boot.dev offers a free demo of every course and its interactive features. Plus, Boot.dev offers a 30-day, no questions asked refund policy, so there's literally zero risk in just giving it a try if you're curious. Best of all, right now, Boot.dev is offering a huge discount on your first year. Just go to Boot.dev and use my code Tolarian to get 25% off your entire first year if you choose the annual plan. 25% off for a whole year of lessons. What a deal! Thank you, Boot.dev, for sponsoring this video. First, I want to give a shout out to an honorable mention. When we talk about a card that brilliantly breaks new territory of game design, there is no better example in Magic than Garruk Wildspeaker, a perfect planeswalker from the very first cycle of planeswalkers ever designed, the OG 5, which first appeared in Lorwyn. But even among those 5, Garruk Wildspeaker is like hitting a home run on your first at bat. Or for people who don't do sports, it's like doing a good job on your first try. Garruk is simple. He ticks up to untap 2 lands, classic green thing to do. He ticks down to make a beast, another classic green thing to do. And if you ultimate him, which you can do the turn after you cast him, if you forego making any beasts, he casts Overrun, an iconic win condition in green that works perfectly as a reward for ultimating your Planeswalker. Planeswalkers had a dark period of design history when the Wizards play design team struggled to design Planeswalkers that didn't have the templating tick up to draw a card, tick down to kill something, ultimate to win the game. It's kind of funny they wound up there, though, considering neither Garruk nor any of the other original Lorwyn Planeswalkers had that templating. The other Planeswalkers in Lorwyn weren't duds by any means, but Garruk was by far one of the best and really has stood the test of time. Garruk was the card that paved the way for Planeswalkers to become the most popular card type in Magic. And if Wizards' research and design hadn't been so successful on one of their first iterations of the card type, then the course of Magic history might have looked very different. If you'd like to see a further deep dive into the early iterations of Planeswalker design and how these cards almost were made to function more like sagas do today, you can check out my video on, well, the brilliance of saga design, which is available by clicking on the I or by looking in this video's description. Okay, now on to our top 5 list. The first card is actually from a highly polarizing set, Modern Horizons 2. There is a lot about Modern Horizons 2 that I wish was different, but regardless of how you may feel about the set and the impact it's had on Magic the Gathering, you can't deny that it had a lot of brilliant designs. And the card I'd like to highlight is, damn, just a brilliant card design. What do you mean, what card is it? I just told you, damn. Damn! Damn! Dam is the child of Wrath of God and Damnation, with a cheeky nod to a beloved and much younger mechanic. Dam is a black sorcery that reads, destroy target creature. It can't be regenerated. But if you overload it for the same cost as Wrath of God, target is replaced with each, which is the exact same effect as Wrath of God. Of course, Wrath of God and Damnation are the same card, just color shifted from white to black. And since Dam is the shortened verb form of the noun damnation, it's the perfect name to give to a card that does a shortened version of the full original effect. Damn! Dam is the type of brilliant card design that takes decades to exist. There's so much setup needed to provide the necessary context to make the card land just right with the player base. Wrath of God had to exist in alpha to set the standard for what a sweeper looks like. Planar Chaos had to introduce the color-shifted version of Wrath of God, Damnation, which itself had to go over well with the player base. And of course it did, because the Magic color pie itself is a brilliant innovation in game design. The idea that black gets targeted removal while white gets sweepers, but every once in a while black can get sweepers too, and white can get targeted removal. It's the kind of evocative game philosophy that sets Magic apart from other card games. And then Overload had to be introduced in Return to Ravnica and succeed as a great implementation of modal spells. All this led to the creation of Dam. Take what black does best, targeted removal, and combine it with what white does best, mass removal. Give it a flavorful and referential name, and voila, you've got Dam. Damn good card and damn fine card design as well. Number 4 on our list is an old classic, Fact or Fiction. What a perfect card this is. 4 mana to give your opponent a nearly impossible task. Sort a set of 5 cards into 2 equally powerful piles, all while not even knowing the contents of your hand. There have been many iterations on Fact or Fiction since its printing in Invasion, but none compared to the original. The brilliance of Fact or Fiction lies in the decision to make the opposing player split the piles and the owner of the Fact or Fiction decide which to take. If the card worked in reverse where the owner of the spell split the piles and the opponent decided which they take, Fact or Fiction's gameplay would be much less dynamic because the harder decision would be given to the player with the most information. Splitting Fact or Fiction piles is one of the most fun and challenging microgames a single card provides in all of Magic the Gathering. Unlike a reverse Fact or Fiction where you can try to mind game your opponent into giving you the better pile, if your opponent casts Fact or Fiction, you know they'll always take whichever pile is better for them, and it's therefore your job to make it so the 2 piles are as close to the same as possible, if possible. Fact or Fiction is one of the most iconic card draw spells in all of Magic. It's powerful, it's fun, it's instant speed. It generally draws you 3 cards, and it costs 4 mana. The most natural slot in the mana curve for a fun and powerful card that helps you turn the corner in a tight game. Anyone who played Standard back during Invasion remembers the threat of the end of turn Fact or Fiction. End of turn Fact or Fiction, untap, you lose was an incredibly common play pattern. The card advantage the spell provides was often insurmountable, but balanced by the fact that it cost 4 mana. If you're an aggro deck playing against a Fact or Fiction deck, you have to put sufficient pressure onto your opponent that they don't have time to cast their 4 mana end of turn spell because they're too busy interacting with you. In a sense, Fact or Fiction is the fixed version of Ancestral Recall, a way to draw 3 cards that's both fun and powerful, but also, crucially, fair. Without a doubt, one of the most brilliant card designs in all of Magic. Number 3 on our list is another brilliant blue card design, and the original version of this actually features a likeness of its creator. That's right, it's Snapcaster Mage. Snapcaster Mage is a perfect blue creature. It does exactly what blue wants to do, cast spells at instant speed, by doing something all Magic players love to do, getting additional value out of cards you've already played, all through the use of one of the most beloved mechanics of all time, Flashback. The brilliance of Snapcaster Mage is rooted in the brilliance of the flashback mechanic. Double dipping on a spell is extremely fun and also very powerful. Effectively, the front half of every flashback spell both does whatever the effect is on the card, plus it draws you the flashback version of the card. Flashback cards make for great graveyard synergy, since they're good things to loot away or mill over while doing other things. Flashback is such a great mechanic that many Magic the Gathering players wish they could give it to their favorite non-flashback spells. And guess what? Snapcaster Mage provides them with exactly that. A cheap little flash creature that gives the spells in your graveyard flashback is extremely flavorful and also well balanced. A 2/1 body isn't nothing, but it's not game-breaking by any stretch. Since it has 1 toughness, it can really only block once, but since it has 2 power, it can often trade up with a bigger or more impactful creature. There's also the hidden mode on Snapcaster Mage as a sort of pseudo-ambush viper, trading for 2 toughness creatures early in the game even if you don't have a spell to flash back. The card pairs great with natural 2-for-1s like Cryptic Command or Kozilek's Command, which allow you to impact the board in some way while also rebuying your Snapcaster Mage for future flashbacks. It's technically a win con for control decks, attacking for 2 each turn while you continue preventing your opponent from doing, well, anything. One of the coolest things about this card is that it was originally designed by a Magic player. That's right, Tiago Chan, a former pro player from Portugal, won the Magic the Gathering Invitational way back in 2007, awarding him the right to design a card with his likeness in the art. And what a banger of a card he designed. Magic the Gathering actually has a whole history of cards designed by players, many of which have gone on to be some of Magic's most iconic powerhouses, and proving once again that the people who play this game are also, oftentimes, great at designing cards for it. Wizards of the Coast has given no indication of this, but personally, I think it's only a matter of time before Snapcaster Mage finds itself reprinted back into Standard, and therefore into Pioneer. You remember what Pioneer is, right? Sure you do. Number 2 on our list is like Dam in that it's deeply rooted in Magic history, and also like Dam in that it's from Modern Horizons 2. Dam, it's Urza's Saga, a non-basic enchantment land with the card subtype Urza's Saga. I've spoken before about the history required for Urza's Saga to exist, so I won't dwell on that too long in this video. Suffice it to say that the card does each of the following things. References an iconic set in Magic history, breaks new ground as the first ever enchantment land, elegantly combines the non-basic land type Urza's, already established way back in 8th edition, with the enchantment subtype Saga established successfully in Dominaria, to take the name of that iconic historical Magic set and put it not just in the card name, but also in the card type line. And it tells the story, or saga, of Magic's most iconic character through card mechanics, the way sagas do so well, which again is why they are one of my favorite overall card mechanics. And I go on and on about that in an entire video, you can check it out there. Anyway, let's get back to Urza's Saga. It does all of this while also being a very powerful and very fun card that still has a ton of counterplay. There are some very clear and obvious sideboard cards you can run to answer Urza's Saga, from cards like Blood Moon, Harbinger of the Seas, and Alpine Moon that shut down the card entirely, to cards like Dress Down and Meltdown that answer the constructs you make with Urza's Saga. The card requires skill in knowing when to play it as your land and whether to use it for mana or make constructs, interesting decisions that lead to rewarding gameplay. The 3rd chapter also gives you access to a toolbox of fetchable artifacts. Toolboxes are a very fun feature of Magic gameplay that provide you with a sense of agency. It's very fun to be able to tutor up the perfect silver bullet in a given matchup. But if Urza's Saga is a masterpiece in its iterative complexity, the number 1 card that we're going to talk about on our list today is a masterpiece in its iterative simplicity? Our number 1 pick is not only a Planeswalker, but it is the best designed Planeswalker ever, and also arguably one of the best designed Magic the Gathering cards of all time. What Liliana of the Veil does on the tin is as simple as it comes. She ticks up to make each player discard a card. She ticks down to make target player sacrifice a creature. And if you ultimate her, you get to play the Fact or Fiction microgame, except with all your opponent's permanents instead. Liliana of the Veil is a quintessential black card. She gives you a powerful benefit at the cost of a resource. Discard and sacrifices are key traits of black in the color pie. She is, without a doubt, the best example of a 3-mana Planeswalker. Powerful, yes, but not so powerful like Oko that she puts you insurmountably ahead when you play her on curve. For all of her power, Liliana of the Veil has never needed to be banned anywhere, unlike Oko, which kinda needed to be banned everywhere. Liliana is a textbook example of implicitly teaching players about concepts in Magic the Gathering. Specifically, Liliana is a case study in how to break a card's symmetry. On its face, each player discarding a card is equally bad for both players, but there are a lot of ways to make it only bad for one player. You can empty your hand the way Modern Jund did so well, so that only your opponent is discarding a card. You can discard a card for value, such as something with Flashback or Madness. Or you can pair Liliana with a card like Renin 6, so you can discard the same unnecessary card, a spare land, over and over again while your opponent has to discard fresh cards. There might also be times when you use what players refer to as the hidden ability of Liliana, not activating any of her modes because you don't want to discard a card. The card's simplicity and elegance also just meshes so well with how cool Liliana looks in her original art. Though Liliana had a prior printing in the original cycle of Planeswalkers in Lorwyn, it's this second iteration of the character that made her the iconic, beloved Planeswalker she is today. Her arc, which took center stage in the original Innistrad block, where her ultimate was actually used within Magic's story to destroy the Hell Vault and unintentionally free Avacyn so that Liliana could destroy Griselbrand, one of her demon masters, and carried her all the way through to War of the Spark, where Liliana saw redemption from anti-hero to actual hero, illustrated in what is, without a doubt, the most popular piece of media Wizards of the Coast has ever made for Magic the Gathering, the War of the Spark trailer. If there's a card in Magic the Gathering that exemplifies the brilliance of this game, it is, without a doubt, Liliana of the Veil. But this is by no means the complete list of Magic's most brilliant card designs, and if you think you've got a Magic card that is pure genius that we didn't mention here today, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Don't just tell me the name of the card, tell me why it's so brilliant. And if you'd like to see a trip through Magic history, check out our Booster Tutor episode of Shuffle Up and Play, where I play Commander with Rachel Weeks, Serge Yeager, and Rebel Lily, all while cracking open classic packs from throughout Magic's history and also spiking Booster Tutor. Sorry about that. We apparently spiked the price on Booster Tutor. It's a great episode. There's a reason the price spiked. Check it out here. You click the I. There's like an I. Or down linked in the, or just scroll back, just watch the episode. And remember, you can now learn how to code in Python and Go programming languages as easily as you would playing a game and memorizing Magic cards or Pokemon types, because Boot.dev offers just that, a game that helps you learn how to code. And best of all, the demo is free to try. You can do a free demo of every course and its interactive features, plus Boot.dev offers a 30-day, no questions asked refund policy. There's literally zero risk. Check it out. Learn to code by playing a game. And if you do want to fully unlock it, Boot.dev is offering a huge discount on your first year. Just go to Boot.dev and use my code Tolarian to get 25% off your entire first year if you choose the annual plan. That's 25% off for a whole year of lessons. What a deal. Thank you, Boot.dev, for sponsoring this video.
Next time on Shuffle Up and Play.
Today, baseball legend. Is it fair to call you a legend?
Baseball lover. That lived his childhood dream. I made a couple All-Star games, won a couple World Series, played for 14 years.
And now you're going to get to play Commander. We made your Commander as you, using some of your baseball card art. Look at that.
I am gonna swing this 2-cow at you.
2-cow, 2 furious. It's about milk.
How much damage is that?
Oh, I think there's something very bad coming our way.
We're on the same team, trust me.
How do you
If she can shuffle it, you can shuffle it.
I am taking off my jacket. It's getting hot in here.
All right, let's do it.
My dreams have been crushed. I'm sweating.